Hi, it's Amanda with Beyond Birth Doula, here to do a video about pumping. I get asked a lot of questions about pumping, probably just as much as I do about actually latching your baby. So I figured it would just be best to go ahead and do a video about it and, hopefully get most of those questions answered. If not, then please feel free to message or call me, and I'm happy to support you wherever you need me. So let's go ahead and start with pumping. So first off, why pump? Why is there a need to pump? I think in our society, we're like, oh, you're pregnant, then you're gonna need to pump. First off, you don't even have to breastfeed if you don't want to, but pumping isn't a necessity just because you are breastfeeding. I get asked all the time, what brand is best? What, equipment is best? What's the best way to do it? So I'm here to state that there is no best brand. I'm sorry, all those advertisements that are out there. I personally know more about Medela because that's just what's I've used in the past and most of my clients use, but Spectra is amazing. I've heard wonderful things about it, had many clients that love it. Lanzanol and those other brands, I've kind of worked with them all here and there, but just not as much as I have with Medela. But there is no best brand. Every woman reacts differently to different things, so try the pump that you feel like. I'm also a big advocate of hand expressing. If you haven't watched my video about hand expressing, please go check it out because you don't have to pump. If you plan to be away from your baby, you can hand express and it's not a bunch of equipment to lug around. Some women have better output with hand expressing because it's skin on skin and not the machine. And so just make sure that you do watch that video in case you ever do have to use hand expressing for some reason. So pumping, why would you do it if you're going back to work, if you plan to go to school or just be away from your baby? Then obviously pumping is a wonderful tool to have. The big part that I get asked a lot is when should I start pumping? So if you just recently had your baby or want to start pumping after because you know that you're going back to work or going to be away from the baby, I always suggest giving it some time. Let your body acclimate to what the baby wants or needs. And that's maybe a little bit confusing because everyone thinks having an oversupply is like the bee's knees, but guess what? It's not. It's painful. It can cause mastitis. It has its own issues. You're choking your baby out. You're feeling like you're just overflowing everything. So having an oversupply and having an undersupply, both are really bad. Both have their negatives. So I'm always about just letting the baby latch and get their best building of the supply in those first couple of weeks. So if you plan on being away from your baby, if you can start pumping at 4 to 6 weeks, kind of later on before you go back to work or wherever you're going, is best. Let the baby tell your body how much it's needing. When we add in pumping, we're telling our bodies that we're having another feeding. So in a sense, we're telling them like, hey, I have twins. And your body's like, oh, well, let me give you more because it's about supply and demand. So if we're going to demand more, we're going to get more of a supply, and it can become a cumbersome oversupply if we go too far. So when you do start once a day, in the morning, at night, whenever it's convenient for you. If you just fed your baby, perfect. Latch go ahead and pump the other side. If your baby feeds off both breasts, you can still pump. Your breasts are never empty. Let's keep that reminder out there. Your breasts are never empty. So if you do pump and your baby all of a sudden gets hungry, latch them on. It's fine. It's once again just building that supply. So start by just pumping once a day and then go from there. Then just kind of see how your body, give it a week or so to see how much output you're getting while pumping, and then add on another one and kind of slowly build it up, just like when you're weaning, you slowly drop one feeding at a time. Same thing. So once that's established, the amount that you get from the pump is not what your baby gets when they latch. Babies are so much more efficient at draining the breast and getting much more out. So if you're only pumping an ounce or a half an ounce and you're like, my baby's probably starving, no. Babies are much more efficient. The equipment is wonderful and it's great for when it's needed, but it's not a good indication on how much you're producing. So let's go ahead and get started with the different things I get asked about, and that's flange sizes. I have tons of flanges. I don't know why, but people give them to me. So if you ever need some flanges, let me know because I have them. So the big thing about the flange sizes is, what's the best fit and which one to start with. So I have a little image on how to figure out by measuring and visual to tell which flange is best. So let me go ahead and put that up here for you. Okay, so now that we've kind of seen that, let me go ahead and demonstrate with my plush crocheted boob here. That does have a nipple. It was the best gift I've ever received. But I love me some collection of flanges. But So the nipple here is what you actually measure, and I have a disaster of a mess. So I have my little measuring tape, and you measure your nipple starting from one side to the other. So this one's from here to here, and you measure it, and you're looking at how many millimeters that is which actual flange you decide on. So right here I have a 24 millimeter, a 27, and a 30. If you don't know where it's at, it's right here on the inside. And I always suggest trying to fit this one. You can kind of see I mean, it's not a real boob, guys, but this one's a pretty good fit. But if I go to the 30, that's way too much room. That's way too big. So if this was my client, I would tell them to start with what this is, a 24, and if they have a smaller one, maybe move down, but I definitely wouldn't go too much bigger than that because of the room that you see between the nipple and the actual flange. So I always suggest using different flanges. So if you start with a 24, maybe the next week try a different size, see which one feels better, see which one gives you a better output. If you feel any kind of friction or any pain, then something's wrong. You should never feel any pain when you pump, just like you should never feel pain with hand expressing or latching. If you're feeling pain, most likely your nipple is being rubbed on the outside of this, which is not good, which means we need to do a different size. So I'm always, you know, all about just trying different flanges to see which one you react to the best. The same goes for the pressure on your pump, the little drips, the pressure. You can build all the way up or low. Start in the middle and kind of go either way. Every woman's body reacts differently to pumps. Some react better to the, you know, very forceful pressure, and some it just kind of cinches it off and you don't get anything. So I'm always about, you know, choosing whichever one is best for you and definitely testing them out. The next big thing is you need to relax. When you are pumping, when you're hand expressing, when you're latching your baby, you need to relax. When we're tense, the milk is tense and it's not going to come out. So before you go to pump, you know, try to relax, even massage your breast if you want to, see if you can just kind of relax and get comfortable, and then go ahead and start pumping. But even while pumping, just remain relaxed. Distract yourself. You know, Facebook is amazing for that. Videos of your baby if you're away from them. Even, you know, a little burp cloth of theirs that you're going to smell. Pictures, scents, anything to distract yourself from the actual pumping. Please do not just stare at your poor breast trying to force it, like willing it with your mind to make more milk. It's not possible, and what you're doing is you're clenching up and it's not going to make anything. So please relax and, you know, let the machine do what it's there for. If you feel like you're having lumps or pains in certain areas while you're pumping, please massage those and help get that milk flow so you don't get mastitis. That is what causes it. So if you feel those in your breast, then definitely massaging while pumping works great. So that's kind of a very basic overview of different sizes of flanges and how to start. Like I said, Medela is the one I kind of always go with for some reason. So they have from 21 millimeters all the way to 36, and probably different ones from there. So if you have any questions about flanges, if you happen to need some extra flanges, if you have any questions about your equipment, please let me know. I'm happy to research and learn along with you on different stuff. And I'm just here to support you wherever you need, judgment free. So please let me know. Thank you for watching.